basically an animal. They only enjoy me being an animal in the ring, because I'm sure there are 9 million people that watch me probably hate my guts. But it's cool though, right? Because I don't know, I probably hate them too. I want to blaze. Yeah, bring Andrew Golota on. Bring those guys. They can keep their title. I don't want their title. I want to strip them of their health. Andrew Golota can't beat me. I don't care. He could practice any dirty trick. He can't beat me. I'm gonna bring the pain to him. And that's all it is. Then we go see how tough you are. Tough guy. I like tough guys. I wish your mother hit me low. I wish he'd do that. I'm not gonna wrestle with anybody. I'm gonna land my fist on his face and his ribs. It's on like a mother.
Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, the Supremes, the Temptations, and Stevie Wonder, all world-famous products of Detroit, Michigan. But along with music and automobiles, the city has produced legendary champions of the ring, Joe Louis and Thomas Hearns. Tonight, we find ourselves in Auburn Hills, a suburb of Detroit, which will play host to former undisputed heavyweight champ Mike Tyson, primed for his first U.S. appearance in almost exactly 1 year. A very busy and curious night of boxing just ahead as we run down tonight's card, a main event that features the matchup between two of boxing's most notorious heavyweights, Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. Co-feature, you'll see the dynamic southpaw Zab Judah look to keep his undefeated record alive as he defends his IBF junior welterweight belt against Hector Quiroz. Before that, the women of boxing grab the spotlight as undefeated Layla Ali, daughter of the greatest Muhammad Ali, will take on Kendra Lenhart. And for openers, the lightweights take center stage as unbeaten Alex Trujillo squares off with Jose Luis Juarez. As we make our way indoors to the Palace of Auburn Hills, capacity 21,000, 12 to 14,000 expected. The Palace home to the NBA's Detroit Pistons, at one time known as the Bad Boys due to their bullying roughhouse tactics. Well, how appropriate, as tonight's lineup features the Bad Boys of boxing, Tyson and Golota. No title is at stake, but it certainly has the feel of a world championship fight. Hello again, everybody. Steve Albert ringside at the Palace. Tonight, a main event that has expectations of an impending train wreck and an overwhelming sense of the unknown, based, of course, on the notorious reputations of both Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. Most are expecting the unexpected. This is Tyson's first fight in America since October 1999, when he punched Orlin Norris after the bell that ended round one. Norris injured his knee and couldn't continue, and the fight was declared a no contest. While taking no formal action, the Nevada State Athletic Commission let it be known that they'd prefer Tyson to fight elsewhere, so off he went to the United Kingdom, where he obliterated a journeyman named Julius Francis and walked through Lou Savarese. That another fiasco as Tyson continued to belt Savarese after the referee stopped the fight and then pushed the ref to the canvas. Which brings us to tonight. With that, let me bring on my ringside partner, former world champion Bobby Ches. And Bobby, could this be the last straw for Mike Tyson?
You know, Steve, with Mike Tyson's incredible punching power and his incredible jawing power, I don't know that he ever has the last straw in his bag of tricks. Having said that, should he do something so hellacious that the Michigan State Athletic Commission would ban him, I think every state across the country it is conceivable would ban Mike Tyson from boxing. However, the flip side of that coin is this. If he comes in, follows the rules, doesn't foul, and knocks Andrew Golota out in an expeditious manner, he's back and bigger, maybe better than ever.
All right, we'll see what happens later. And yes, they've come this far. Some are surprised, particularly in the case of Tyson, who does have a history of postponing fights. With that, let's take a look at both fighters arriving at the arena tonight. First, Mike Tyson looking calm, relaxed, making a reported $10 million in a bombshell announcement yesterday. Tyson said this would be his last fight. Is it all part of his continuing practice of saying outlandish, attention-getting things to perhaps sell tickets? Does he plan a bizarre finale? Should we take him with a grain of salt or take him seriously? Just an observation. Nobody around Tyson will guide him in the right direction, perhaps for fear of losing his job. Maybe they can't keep him from biting ears or breaking arms in the ring, but they can advise him on what to say. And the arrival of Chicago resident Andrew Golota by way of Warsaw, Poland, 4.5 to 1 underdog. Like Tyson, a tarnished reputation. The low blows, shoulder bite, headbutts, inexplicably quitting against Michael Grant. Lost in 95 seconds to Lennox Lewis. says he's older and wiser now, wants to keep it clean and prove he can win a big fight. Pronounced himself extremely relaxed and not in fear of Tyson, although he has trepidation before every fight, he said. He'll get a reported $2.5 million for his efforts.
Room, guys.
Tonight's two marquee fighters have successfully made their way into the Palace for tonight's main event, so let's remind you, as usual, for you viewers of this pay-per-view event with internet access, we once again invite you to log on to show.com where you can score tonight's bouts. The results will be shown on the webpage and announced during the course of the telecast. Online scoring will not influence the outcome of the fight. So for fighter bios, records, and so much more, log on to show.com. Once again, web address sho.com. For more on tonight's event, let's check in with our Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I'm joined tonight by the promoter of tonight's fight here at the Palace of Auburn Hills. That's right, promoter Tommy Hearns. You've known him for many years in the ring, one of the great champions of our time. Good friend of mine. I'm happy to finally see you on the other side of the ropes. Are you pleased with this decision?
Well, I'm very much pleased with my decision that I made. It wasn't a very hard decision to become a promoter instead of becoming a fighter. Instead of staying a fighter. I made the decision because the opportunity presented itself. And once the opportunity presented itself, then I had to take it and run. I couldn't just look at it and say, nah, I don't want to do that. I mean, but it's better. It's much greater being on the outside, looking in, than being on the inside, dodging punches.
And you don't get bruised at all. Now, let me ask you, you're having to deal with people like yourself. Now, you weren't quite like Mike Tyson or Andrew Golota, but what are you finding it to deal with professional athletes and boxers?
Dealing with people like myself, I've dealt with.
You were a pleasure, basically, but I mean, it's a lot different story than dealing with you.
It's something that we do all the time with each other. But now that I'm out here, I know how to deal with the fighter because I was a fighter once before. So it's easier now for me to deal with the fighter. I can know how to talk to them, and I know how to pacify them, get what they want.
Now, you've been a good analyst over the years, too. You see these things pretty clearly. How do you see tonight's fight?
I think tonight's fight is going to be, I see at least 6 rounds.
Who's going to win?
It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a tight. It's hard to call. It's really hard to call.
You truly have become a promoter. I guess you're going to hedge your bet so you can have the rematch or whatever.
You know
what, take the winner.
I have to do what a promoter's supposed to do, is to stay neutral and hope, give luck to both fighters.
Final question. New hairstyle. Are you trying to follow in the footsteps of somebody else who promotes fights with this new hairdo?
I'm not gonna make it so high. I'm gonna keep it at a real low level.
Tommy, best of luck. We'll talk to you later tonight. All right, let's go over to Bill Boggs.
Oh, Jim, thank you very much. Great to see Tommy Hearns. We're here with two of the boxing world's really greatest writers, Tim Smith from the New York Daily News and from London's The Sun, Colin Hart. Now, Colin, Mike Tyson's last 2 fights were in the UK. You covered him closely. You saw the reaction of the world press. How do you assess Mike Tyson, the athlete, on the world stage?
Well, if Muhammad Ali was the most recognized sportsman on earth, Mike Tyson runs him very close as second. You know, if you ask a kid in Kazakhstan, showed him a picture and said, who's that? He would know exactly who it was and tell you all about him.
Suppose Tyson shows up in Berlin for a fight, Tokyo for a fight, Paris for a fight.
Well, he gets mobbed in the streets of London. He got mobbed in the streets of Manchester. Same in Glasgow. Same in Berlin. You name it, the same thing would happen.
All right, well, thank you, Colin. Let's bring it back home. Tim Smith, this is his first fight in the United States in just about a year. What's the reaction to Mike Tyson here at home?
Well, you know what? He's more reviled than revered here. He's more infamous than famous. He is very famous, but he's more infamous. The people in America see him as sort of not a hero, but just like a gangster type of guy. I mean, he's subject to say and do just about anything. Just the unexpected. It's the WWF anything goes kind of guy that steps into the ring, and that's what people expect. And he's more reviled than revered.
A little bit of the Jerry Lewis syndrome, more popular abroad than at home. Now, this one question for both of you. How important is tonight's performance by Mike Tyson against Andrew Golota for the world boxing press?
Well, for the press and the fans, everybody wants to see Mike Tyson fight Lennox Lewis for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
And what happens when they do, if they do?
Oh, well, I would pick Lewis to beat him.
But anyway, so that's the point. He's got to win this one.
He's not only got to win, he's got to win it clean, clearly, quickly. I'm sure he will. And then the big fight could be on.
Excuse me. And what do you think, Tim?
I think that Everyone wants to see a nice, clean performance from Tyson tonight so that he can get back into the heavyweight picture. And as Colin said, the fight that everybody wants to see is Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. And I agree with my colleague from London. I think Lennox Lewis takes him right now, today, as it stands, before this fight happens.
Well, first we have to get through this fight. Colin, I thank you very much. Now, Tim Smith, you must be the only reporter working in the sports department of the New York Daily News who's not covering the Subway Series.
You know what? Someone has to be here for this big event. It's not the Subway Series, but to us tonight, it's almost as big. And I got to say, go Mets.
Go Mets?
Go Mets.
What do you say?
I'll say it's not cricket.
Back to you, Steve Areno.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. Bill picking New York to win the Subway Series. The media, like many of you viewers, are drawn to this event and really intrigued by it, in large part because it's totally unpredictable. Will one or both just snap? Either way, this should provide something for everybody. The critics are poised to point out another black eye for boxing. The purists have hopes for a clean, entertaining fight. And those into the bazaar are grinning at the prospect of another unforgettable incident. Whatever happens later, it's been an interesting week leading up to the fight. Here's a closer look.
I'm just looking forward to this. This is going to be real good for me.
You're going to knock the leather out. Knock him cold out.
I didn't come to this town to lose.
No, Mikey, no, Mikey. It's about me, man. It's all about Mike, man. That's the real deal. 6'5", 240, but to me, very, very small. And he's over there laughing. We're up here laughing. Everybody laughing. This is serious stuff. We won't be laughing Friday.
So following an eventful week, we're finally here. Big night of boxing in front of us, capped by Tyson versus Golota. Quick reminder for those of you with internet access, log on to show.com where you can score tonight's fights online. The results will be shown on the webpage and announced during the course of the telecast. Online scoring will not influence the outcome of the fight, so log on to show.com and participate in the interactive experience. Online scoring for tonight's main event, Tyson versus Golota, brought to you by Mike Tyson Boxing for the PlayStation. 42 knockouts. You're next. And coming up next, the main event, two of the most controversial and enigmatic fighters in the heavyweight division set to go head-to-head. Mike Tyson versus Andrew Golota. We'll take you into the dressing room of the former undisputed heavyweight champ. Tyson treating Golota almost as an afterthought, in one breath saying this is his last fight, and another saying bring on Lennox Lewis for the title. Forget Holyfield. He's old news, and revenge is not a factor, even though deep down it has to be. But don't overlook David Tua. And as for tonight, Tyson says it'll last as long as it takes, in his words, to kill somebody. Mike watching a little too much wrestling. Well, while armchair psychologists are having a field day with Mike Tyson, you know that only one person really knows what's going inside his head.
Yes, once in my life, I'm just having a good time with this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't got to prove it. Everyone knows I can fight. Everyone knows what I'm going to do. Andrew Golota can't beat me. People say, well, his style is going to make him difficult. This style. No, it's not the style that matters. It's the morale behind the style that matters. It's the intention and the fierceness and the malice and the contempt, the hurt in this particular sport. I like tough guys. All the time in prison, I always ran these guys. They were tough. When they were in, they ain't tough. When they get confronted, they ain't tough. When I bring that pain to them, they ain't tough. My preeminence in this sport won't be overlooked. I won't allow it to be overlooked.
Well, there you have it. The words of Mike Tyson as we get closer to the main event. The sense of anticipation heightens. Will Tyson versus Golota be a war? Will it be another easy night for Tyson, or will Golota pull off a surprise? Or will we witness another debacle? As the countdown continues, we'll take a look at the official weigh-in, which took place yesterday afternoon. A final opportunity for some public posing and posturing by the two principals. We understand we won't see that right now, but I will tell you that Golota checked in at 240 pounds and Tyson checked in at 222, which has been a consistent weight for him over the last several fights. Now, despite careers once filled with promise, tonight's combatants have become infamous for their violent indiscretions in the ring. Here's a look back at the checkered histories of Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. Mike Tyson, now so vilified, was once the most charismatic and celebrated fighter of his generation. But over the last 4 years, his career has been indelibly marred by controversies and inexplicable fouls.
Tyson showing desperation in fighting Holyfield 2 times. Look out now. More fighting in the ring after the end of the fight. And Tyson is just taking swipes at anybody in front of him.
Look at me. Look at me. I got to go home and my kids are going to be scared of me. Look at me, man.
Hey, Mike. Hey, wait. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right, break.
Oh, and he hits him after the bell, and Norris goes down, and here we go again. Tyson hit Norris after the bell. A barrage by Tyson. The referee, John Coyle, steps between, and he continues. Coyle's trying to stop it.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
Tyson's opponent, Andrew Golota, has not exactly earned himself a reputation as a choir boy either. His blatant low blows and enigmatic behavior were never more apparent than in his 2 battles against Riddick Bowe.
Oh, Golota's hitting below the belt. Golota again with low blows. So look at this. Bowe goes down. That's it. Golota's disqualified. Golota is absolutely unbelievable.
As they prepare for tonight's contest, both combatants hope their bout will not deteriorate into an embarrassing foul fest.
He should be very nice to me. He shouldn't initiate anything as far as any foul tactics or anything. I really hope he doesn't do that. I don't think he will.
I don't think it's dirty, you know. I don't think anybody's dirty, you know, in the ring. But the thing is, you know, he might lose his focus, you know, in the fights.
I don't want to get in a dirty fight with nobody. He doesn't want to get, I'm sure he doesn't want to get in a dirty fight with me.
I come to the fight, you know, whatever he does, whatever he starts, I finish, you know.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wrestle with anybody. I'm going to land my fist on his face and his ribs.
Well, the question now is this. Have Tyson and Golota learned from their past transgressions? Will they enter tonight's bout with the intent to fight by the rules, or are they already resigned to the notion of foul play, particularly after hearing and reading how almost everyone is expecting the worst? Let me bring on my ringside partner, former world champion Bobby Ches. And Bobby, if Tyson's conduct is okay and he comes up with a victory, does he get to return to the big money venues in Nevada?
I think Las Vegas will welcome him with open arms. He still generates the big bucks. He makes the most money for the venues everywhere throughout the world, especially Las Vegas.
What if he self-destructs and fouls out again?
You know, it's not inconceivable if he fouls out that here in Michigan they'll ban him and that they'll ban him throughout the United States. I don't think that that's going to happen. But boy, I'll tell you what, you never know.
What about the referee situation? Frank Garza is very inexperienced. He's had only 1 title fight. This isn't a title fight, but still. I mean, experienced referees have had their difficulties with Tyson. Now you throw Golota into the mix. Doesn't a fight of this magnitude on this level call for a more seasoned third man of the ring?
I completely agree. I think that a referee who has a proven track record, who's proven himself in big fights, tough fights, who's made tough decisions, split-second reactions can make the difference, change lives and history here. I think a better referee would have been better suited for this fight.
Plus the size factor, he's only 5'8", 172 against these hulking heavyweights. That's not going to be easy.
Well, Mills Lane's not a big man, a small man in size, but a big man in stature. He controls the fighters in the ring. He knows his business. He does it well.
All right, Tyson and Golota, 2 freight trains heading straight for each other, a matchup that has captured the imagination of many people, including boxing commentator, painter, and writer Ferdy Pacheco, better known as the Fight Doctor. Ferdy takes a personal look at tonight's star attraction in this latest installment of The Doctor Is In.
Once considered a candidate to stand with Dempsey, Lewis, Marciano, and Ali, Tyson is now a defrocked bully, incapable of assuming accountability for his actions and for accepting the responsibility he has to the sport of boxing and to his audience. When Tyson was sentenced to an Indianapolis penitentiary, I resolved to write to him after every Showtime fight. I had no great personal friendship with Mike, nor was I a fan of his in particular. But as a member of the boxing fraternity, I was just trying to lighten his load. Well, for almost 2 years, he never wrote back. But one day, to my surprise, I received this letter. And in it, he said, and I quote, "Believe it or not, I always liked you as a man, but I never knew how to take you. Because I am a great believer that we must distrust one another. It's our only defense against being betrayed." I never heard from him again. With a philosophy like that, is it any wonder that Tyson can implode at any time, ending what could have been one of boxing's greatest careers, and more tragically, a life filled with promise? Could this implosion happen tonight against the equally unpredictable and volatile Andrew Golota? I, for one, sincerely hope not. This is the Fight Doctor, and this is my diagnosis.
Well, that's why we're here, to see what happens between Tyson and Golota, to see if somebody implodes or explodes or whatever the heck goes on here. It really has been a stressful thing trying to get ready for this fight with all the craziness going on. But Bobby, is the winner of this fight ready for the winner of the upcoming title fight between Lennox Lewis and David Tua?
I think certainly the winner of this fight is going to be right there. He's going to be knocking on the door of a world championship fight with Lennox Lewis or David Tua. My personal pick is that Tua wins, so that the Lewis-Tyson possible showdown gets put aside, at least for now. And I think that either way, the winner of this fight shows he's ready to go.
What if there are some promotional problems? If there is, say, a Tyson-Lewis matchup, a showdown there, Tyson-Holyfield 3?
Well, certainly the trilogy needs to be completed. I don't think that the final statement, the stamp, has been put on that. I think there's still some things left unsaid that need to be said, and maybe even more importantly, done.
Then again, who knows, because Tyson said yesterday this is his last fight.
If this is his last fight, this is probably my last broadcast,
yeah, well,
but I pray it's not.
I doubt both, okay? Let's get your keys to victory for the main event.
What we have here is a battle of the unpredictable and maybe the very unexpected. Mike Tyson, there's no stranger to what he has to do. He has to get on the inside, and also when he gets on the inside, he's got to go to the body, then to the head in combination. He's devastating when he does that, okay? And those big left hooks and right uppercuts that he throws on the inside are devastating. Here against Julius Francis, he's going to circle to the side to get better angle of delivery, and when he does, he's going to deliver a right uppercut to the body and then take a left uppercut directly to the head. Buckle his man over to the belly and then bang him to the head. There's the right uppercut. Bent over goes Julius Francis, and there's the uppercut which topples him to the canvas. That's Mike at his best. Andrew Golota has got to establish a power jab, not just flick it out there. He's got to put some sting on Mike if he wants to win. Also push Mike back. Holyfield did it, and he won. It's key. And keep some distance between them. Golota's too big to fight on the inside with Mike Tyson. Here Golota against Norris. He's going to throw the jab, then he's going to throw a little left hook up top, just to keep, not real hard punches, just to keep Norris from coming in. Keep him at a distance where he can win, and Norris cannot win. Throws a little hook outside. He throws the right hand to the body and comes up again with a little hook, keeping the jab in his face, keeping that distance, keeping him away. Golota can win from here. Norris can't. Tyson can't. Now watch what happens when Norris goes to bend to come in. Now Golota unloads with real punches. Right uppercut and a left hook. You see the shoulder, he's bent, he's making his move. There comes the uppercut and the hook. And then Golota is right back out of harm's way.
Well, from keys to victory, Bobby, to faces in the crowd, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, former champion Larry Holmes on hand at the Palace. One of the all-time greats from Michigan State, not far. The Magic Man, Irvin Magic Johnson. Basketball star Vince Carter, fresh off the gold medal winning performance in Sydney. Jerry Stackhouse, local favorite from the Detroit Pistons, and entertainer Sean Puff Daddy Combs. So the stage is finally set for tonight's main event. Mike Tyson versus Andrew Golota. The buildup is over. The moment has arrived. Let's throw it up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr., to introduce the ring walks.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we are ready to bring out the boxers in our heavyweight showdown main event of the evening. First, making his way to the ring, please welcome the big contender, the heavyweight from Poland, Andrew Golota.
We understand Andrew Golota is holding up the works, not ready to come in, despite the fact that Jimmy Lennon Jr. announced his ring walk introduction. This is right outside the locker room as we await the emergence behind closed doors of Andrew Golota.
I don't know if it's a psychological game, Steve, but psychological games at this level, I just don't think they work.
Well, especially he doesn't have Tyson waiting or anything, so what does Tyson care? Perhaps it's only fitting that Golota's trainer, you heard from Al Certo before with Jim Gray, is also a tailor, because many feel Golota is tailor-made for Mike Tyson. Slow, plodding, questionable heart. And while we wait for the entrance of Andrew Golota, let's look at what we wanted to show you earlier, the weigh-in.
Golota, 240. Yeah. 240 pounds. 240 pounds for Andrew Golota. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite to the scale, from Catskill, New York, please welcome the two-time heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Iron Mike Tyson.
Tyson, 222.
222 pounds.
Crowd of better than 16,000 awaiting the entrance of Andrew Golota. And like many before him, a lot of people feel that Golota just won't be prepared for Tyson's speed and power. That's if he shows up.
I think that's something, Steve, that a lot of these heavyweights really do underestimate speed.
Yeah, and his wife, Mariola, who is a criminal attorney, is also anxiously awaiting her husband's entrance. I think, you know what happened? I think Tyson's people saw the last Golota fight with Orlin Norris and said, that's our man. Golota with a lot of support from the Polish community of Detroit and Chicago. Chicago about a 4.5-hour drive away. That, of course, is where Golota lives now, originally from Warsaw, Poland. And we'll see if Tyson is true to form and comes out swinging at the bell. Usually he hears the bell, takes a beat, then fires a haymaker. That's usually the drill. If so, will Golota, like Holyfield, fight back, or will he be terrified early, or will he unravel and resort to roughhouse tactics under pressure? We go back to the dressing room, still waiting on Andrew Golota to come out of there.
I wonder if there's a time limit.
Well, I'm sure if this thing goes on for a few more minutes, somebody will be banging on the door. Fans are growing restless out here. All right, now we got into the dressing room with the camera. They're just waiting. Well, we know Golota has certain skills above average. Would you say that, Bobby?
He has above average skills. He's a good athlete. He's big. He's mean. He's somewhat tough. And he can fight a bit.
But he's also been his own worst enemy. Is he capable of staying focused, fighting a clean, smart, solid fight on this big of a stage against a guy who can really provoke him?
You know, Steve, I'm not really sure that it matters. I think maybe he can for a short time, but I think eventually it's going to become such a war and it's going to be such a fight or die, do or die, that anything is possible.
They're trying to clear people away to make a path. There's Al Certo on the left, his colorful trainer. We'll see Golota momentarily. Here he comes. He does have a good chin. He can take a punch, but How will he react once he feels the power of Tyson? I mean, these aren't sparring partners simulating Tyson's left hook. He has been rocked by fighters who don't hit as hard as Tyson. Is that a point?
He reacted pretty well to Riddick Bowe's power, and he wound up on the floor, and he got back up, and he demolished Bowe to a great degree. He reacted pretty well to Michael Grant's, got up. He didn't react that well to Lennox Lewis's, and this Tyson power is an all-new kind of hurt.
And the people reacting as they see him up on the big jumbotron. The question is, how does he get Tyson's respect early?
Steve, there's no two ways about it. He has to come to Mike with a hard jab, and he's got to pop him, whether it's a left hook, a right hand, an uppercut. He has to sting Mike a little bit and let him know, oh, by the way, I'm going to be here a while, so don't get too confident. I have to tell you, Steve, just the thought of walking in the ring with Mike Tyson is a great rush. I mean, the best rush I ever had was jumping out of a plane in Skydive Phoenix. I enjoyed that, but fighting Mike Tyson has to be an incredible rush. Right now, I wish I was Andrew Golota.
A lot of people feel that this may be akin to jumping out of a plane for Golota without a parachute.
Well, I don't think he's going to die. No, but he could get hurt.
He did behave in his last fight. You recall a decision over Orlin Norris, but he was very cautious, Bobby, and plain dull. Can he take that same tact, that same approach, and be successful against a guy like Tyson?
That type of approach, that type of performance will get him annihilated and annihilated early. I don't think it's possible. He said he was hurt in that fight. He had some problems under his left arm by his rib cage. I don't think it's possible to fight anything even remotely close to that and survive, never mind win.
There's an explanation for Golota's tardiness. Let's get it from Jim Gray.
Well, there's been some controversy the last day and a half, according to the promoters of this fight, Tommy Hearns and Dan Goosen. Andrew Golota did not want to wear the Everlast gloves. He wanted to wear a different brand of gloves. He was not happy with the ones that were picked out for him by the commission that he had to select at the meeting. And up until the last minute, he had refused to put them on, and they finally convinced him to put them on and come out and fight. Steve?
Thanks, Jim. Everlast more of a boxer's glove.
I'll tell you what, I think that this glove is better for Golota and not as good for Mike. If I were Mike, I'd want the Rays. I'd want the power puncher's gloves. I don't understand it.
Let's go back to Jimmy Lennon Jr. to bring on Mr. Tyson.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring to the music of Cash Money recording artist, Cash Money Millionaires. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one and only Iron Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, you heard me?
Watch out! Alright, we're gonna do this for my homeboy Mike Tyson! Blood, you know me, I don't need no introduction to this. Ride business round the city, on bustin' this. Arm hanging, wrist breaking, just starting this. Drop the top, pockets high, bumping in this. Be educated right, don't tangle and twist it. Every night, don't tangle and twist it. Don't like it cause I'm begging and twisting. And twinkle and glisten. Ride beat bubble, you can call it with the feel. With the platinum grill. The platinum beat, the platinum tape, the platinum wine, and the platinum.
Tyson said this a fight that is meant for him. He's very excited about it, says his strategy is no different for Golota than anyone else. Not worried about low blows, saying they don't hurt if you have a cup, and doesn't think Golota brings anything to worry him in the ring. His trainer, Tommy Brooks, thinks he'll destroy Andrew Golota. How pivotal is the first round of Tyson?
The first round is key for both fighters, but especially for Mike, because if Andrew Golota can hit Mike, hurt Mike, push Mike back a little bit in the first round, Mike's got a whole new thing to deal with. He's got to deal with a guy who's going to be here and is prepared. If Mike gets his thing going early, this fight is done.
With that, do you look for him to come out swarming, trying to take Golota out expeditiously, or would he look to rough him up, take him out of his game, make him do something foolish?
Mike never looks to let anyone get outside the first round. He looks to take it to you and put what he calls the big hurt on you. He looks to put it on you as often and as early as possible.
All right, let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. Tyson turned 34 in June, 2 years older. Big 5-inch height advantage, 7-inch reach advantage. Golota at yesterday's weigh-in, as mentioned, Tyson 222, Golota 240. And the key Michigan rules for this non-title fight. The standing 8 count is in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the final round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 5th round, the fight's ruled a technical draw. If it happens after the end of round 5, they go to the scorecard. So here at the Palace of Auburn Hills, better than 16,000 on hand, ready for the main event. Mike Tyson versus Andrew Golota. The official introductions from our ring announcer, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Palace of Auburn Hills here in Auburn Hills, Michigan, as it's time for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by America Presents and Hearns Entertainment in association with Main Events, Fight Night Inc. and SET Showtime Event Television. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the Michigan State Athletic Board of Control. The chairman is David Sebastian, vice chairman Dr. Michael Sherman. Now introducing to you our 3 judges scoring the bout from ringside. From Clarkston, Michigan, Rosemary Grable. From Hale, Michigan, Bernie Teachout. And from Troy, Michigan, Brad Wright. Now introducing to you the 3rd man of the ring, the referee in charge. From Lincoln Park, Michigan, Frank Garza. Fight fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. A heavyweight showdown scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the Palace of Auburn Hills, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing white trunks with red trim, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois by way of Warsaw, Poland. He weighed in at an even 240 pounds with a record of 36 wins, 4 losses. He has 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the WBC number 9 ranked heavyweight contender, introducing the hard-hitting Andrew Golota. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner, really needing no introduction the world over, entering the ring wearing his traditional black trunks and hailing from Catskill, New York. He weighed in at 222 pounds with a record of 48 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no contest. He has 42 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the youngest man ever to capture the world title, the 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, introducing the one and only Iron Mike Tyson. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our referee in charge, Frank Garza, now to give instructions. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in this our main event of the evening.
Only the chief second and the boxer in the ring. Everybody else has to be out. Only the chief second. Only the chief second. Only the chief second.
Little gamesmanship going on here now, Bobby. I mean, somebody's got to make their way to the center of the ring.
I personally think it's ridiculous. I think the referee was waiting for everybody to get out of the ring except for the chief second, which are the trainers, and the fighters themselves.
It's a familiar sight of Tyson pacing like a caged tiger. And already, before the fight starts, Frank Garza has some controversy.
I can see Mike's belly button right there, and that's going to be the line. So anything on his trunks or cups, I'm going to consider a low blow. His is up a little high. His belly button's right there, so I'm going to give Mike right here that red line. You got it? Okay. We already went through all the directions in the dressing room. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
Any questions in this corner? Okay, gentlemen, let's do it right. Touch them up. May the best man win.
Garza looking to take charge from the outset. 21 of Tyson's 42 knockouts in the first round. Fastest KO 30 seconds with Marvis Frazier. Second fastest 37 seconds Robert Collet. The third, his last fight, 38 seconds, Lou Savarese. Golota, stand-up boxer, big right hand, deliberate yet busy, looks to wear you down, but will he be around long enough to find out if he can? And can he keep his composure under pressure? Here we go.
Golota looks a little soft in the belly too, Steve.
Tyson quickly looking to get in on the inside, using the head movement. There's a straight left hand right on the nose, a right hand by Tyson. Another overhand right by Tyson that got Golota on the head.
Golota's holding his cool pretty good right now, maintaining, just trying to get that jab, trying to get through this first round.
Tyson, as usual, comes out winging. Backing Golota up. We haven't seen Golota's right yet.
Golota standing, you see him, his legs, he's a little stiff, and he's looking at, looks like he's looking to load up the right hand, and you can hear his corner yelling, throw the right hand, but he looks really tight. Mike's not working in behind the jab. There he started to throw it.
Let him go. My break. My break.
Golota definitely more skilled than some of Tyson's recent opponents.
My break.
And he is big.
I'm watching it.
He is a big target, and Mike's got a lot of man to work with in front of him. He's throwing some big body shots. Golota not throwing any hard punches at all.
Tyson looking to resurrect his aura of invincibility.
Golota's not really using any of the leverage either. He's staying too straight. He's not bending. He's not using that height and that reach. He's slapping a lot.
Just
I think he's still afraid.
Straight right hand followed by a left by Golota. And then a right uppercut. Blocked by Tyson. Here's the left jab by Golota. That scores. Misses with
off his head.
Chopping right cross.
He's tapping a little bit. He's not really unloading with any big shots.
Break. Break. Let him go.
Golota
no push.
Has yet to feel the extreme impact, the power of Tyson.
Okay, step back, both of you. Step back quickly. Step back. My break.
Nice throwing a big, wide right hand to the body, Steve.
No wrestling. Let him go. Keep it clean. No wrestling.
We approach the final 30 seconds
Get him up, Andrew.
of
Get him
round
up. Let
one.
him go. Let him go. Let
There's
him go.
a cut left side of the face over the left eye of Golota.
Nice right hand by Mike over the top, too. Again, working that cut.
And a left hook to the head by Tyson.
Off his head. Nope. Nope.
Referee's doing an excellent job, Steve.
Oh! Down goes Andrew Golota. What a right. Straight right on the button. Golota down.
Same right handed up in that cut, Steve.
A flash knockdown. He got up quickly. Here are the final seconds of round one. And there's the bell. Tyson scoring a knockdown at the end of the first.
Take a deep breath. All right, you're all right. Little cut, very little cut. This is by that mouthpiece. Show that right fucking hand. You hear?
Starting fight.
Yeah, huh?
Starting fight. Something Mike's not done a lot of is an overhand right. Watch his overhand right. That is right on the money. Golota's got a whole new problem. Here you're going to see it. He comes into him, bends, beautiful leverage. Look at him turn that shoulder in. That is a full power shot. Super slow-mo from the other side. Oh, and you can see the shockwave sent to Golota's jaw and chin. That is just a beautiful right hand. But he got up quickly.
Deep breath. You gotta fight. Show your punches fast. Come on, let's go.
Didn't take long for Golota to feel the power of Tyson. Golota down at 247 of round one.
No, watch your head. Watch your head.
doing some bobbing and weaving a little better than I thought he could. Maybe might miss a few shots, but you can see there's some fear in his eyes. He's felt the pain.
Jumping on Golota here to open round 2. Wanting to end it right here. Oh, a big right hand again by Mike Tyson.
Golota's holding on the inside a lot. He learned from Holyfield. Tie him up on the inside.
Mike break. Off his head. Off his head.
Tyson just slowing Golota down here at the outset with huge rights to the head. There's another right hand. Golota's chin withstanding that, but how much more can he take? Tyson again jumping all over him. A left hook, then he shoots to the body.
Golota hit him with a nice right hand too. Got Mike's attention a little bit inside.
Step back. Take a deep breath.
That right just missed by Tyson. And then a headbutt almost by Tyson.
Let him go.
As he came in leading with his head.
Break. Step back, no wrestling.
Midway through the second.
Mike's got to work in behind the jab again. He can't work in just coming with the big power shots because Golota's learning real quick. You got to hold on to this man. See, Mike stopped throwing the jabs, not working his way in. Needs to stuff that big jab.
High break. High break.
Mike Tyson looking to move 240 pounds into position for the final knockout.
Nope, that's it. Step back.
We approach the final minute of the second round.
Okay, watch your heads. Watch your heads. No punching. No punching. All right? Touch him up.
Not been the storied left hook of Tyson thus far, but the overhand right just missed with that overhand right.
And he had bad intentions all over that one, Steve. That was a Hail Mary. Throwing the pass for the end zone.
Okay, step back. Step back. Step back. No punching. Step back. Step back.
Mike's got to work in behind the double jab. It'll stop Andrew from holding him so easy. See, Golota slapping here. He can't hurt Mike with that. He's going backward and still punching. Feet are off balance, not planted, not delivering, turning his hips and shoulders in. Not going to hurt anybody with that.
And he seems fearful to throw his right hand for fear of what might be coming back.
Andrew, get him up. Right break. Right break. Get him up. That was an accident. You
Mike's showing he's a little over anxious here. That big right hand got him all souped up. He's not bobbing and weaving behind the jab. He's bobbing and weaving, but not behind the jab, which is allowing Golota to tie him up, Steve.
2 in the book.
You're missing it with that right hand because you're looping it. Throw it straight, you're catching. Real relax. How you feel? Real relax. Check this out. Show him that just like we worked on in the locker room. Show him that jab and step on it. Okay? Step to the right, fire right. Real relax, Mike.
Obviously, Tyson has to get inside, and here he comes, trying to get inside. But as soon as he does, look at Golota. He's going to hold on for dear life because he's been hurt.
What are you doing?
You fucking do this.
Oh, I don't think he wants to go on. I don't think he wants to go on. He wants to quit.
He quit.
Andrew, what are you doing?
Last second, the bell's going to ring.
It's over. He's done it again. Golota quits. Look at this drama. El Cerro says, I can't believe you're doing this.
And he said it a little more colorfully than that, Steve. I'm telling you right now, Cerro's excited. He's upset. And I'll tell you what, it was a better round considering the first round was on his... But you won't know until you taste the power of a puncher like a Tyson, a puncher like a Tua, what you have inside you. And now we know Andrew Golota will not deal with it. Not deal with it well.
And you hear the crowd reacting.
I said I'd be real surprised if this got into round 4, and I was not wrong.
Somebody just threw something in the ring that splattered all over us. The
cup of soda.
The Golota corner is just distraught with this decision by their man, Andrew Golota. He wants to get the heck out of here. He's coming near us now, gets away. People are throwing things at him.
They're throwing popcorn, soda, beer, everything that they can.
Unbelievable sight here at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Golota being escorted off as fans throw things at him after he quits at the end of 2 rounds. Oh, look at that. Oh, my goodness. Now let's hope this doesn't really get out of hand now. It's getting very ugly here now as they hustle him out into the back area to safety.
Listen, I'll tell you what. You want to go down and go out on your shield? Okay, but I cannot buy quitting. Well, it's still okay. The second round was a better round for Golota. He got to Mike a little bit, tied him up, was starting to do what he wanted to do, get to the fourth or fifth.
An outrageous display of cowardice by Andrew Golota. Let's get it over to Jim Gray.
James.
Mike has decided to leave the ring. We're going to go back into the locker room and try and speak with him then. Ice is pouring out. There's been a lot of coins thrown into the ring, and I just think that he wants to leave before the situation becomes any worse. Steve, we'll run back to the locker room and see what happens there.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. As Mike Tyson makes his exit, heading back towards the dressing room.
One of the cameramen just came over and whispered in my ear that right after the first round, he asked his corner twice, please stop this fight. I don't want to go out there anymore. Please stop this fight.
And Al Certo kept screaming at him, you're going to win this fight. You're going to win this fight. And Golota got up on the stool to get Certo's
styles
attention.
make fights. Golota never had a chance to win this fight. He doesn't have the defensive skills or the real agile mobility necessary to offset what Mike's doing, and he never hit him clean.
I agree with you there, but do you
take your shot?
Gutless, heartless, you take a gutless approach like that?
No, you take your shot. Listen,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is the business we've chosen. You don't cry about it after the fact.
We still haven't had the official announcement. The enigmatic career of Andrew Golota rages on. Let's go over to Jimmy Lennon Jr. now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been ended at the beginning of round number 3. Golota refusing to enter the combat at round 3. Referee in charge, Frank Garza, stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout, Iron Mike Tyson.
So there's the official announcement by Jimmy Lennon Jr. to a chorus of boos here at the Palace. Fans just irate at what they just saw. Andrew Golota quitting at the beginning of round 3. He refused to come out. He was being urged to change his mind by his corner, led by Al Certo, his trainer. Despite that urging, he said, that's it, I don't want to go anymore.
That was a little more than an urging, it was a command.
Well, he told him to go out there and fight, and he refused. I don't care what you call it, but that was sheer cowardice on the part of Andrew Golota. I mean, you know, let's face it, as you pointed out,
to see a man
to have to take a Tyson punch is not the greatest picnic in the world. But
this is a business you've chosen.
This is his profession, and he's got to continue.
Steve, this man is 6'5", 240 pounds, and quit like that. More than ever, I'd love the opportunity to fight Mike Tyson just because of that rush.
Let's not get into that. I understand that, but this is about Andrew Golota. All right, here it is at the end of the round where he's saying, I don't want to fight. Look at his people saying, you got to fight. And he just walks away, pushes people away. He pushes Garza away, the referee.
He pushed everybody.
Al Certo, his other members of the support team. Look at Certo. Look at this. Look at this display. You wonder if his purse is going to be held up. You really do. Reported $2.5 million.
I don't think he can do that. I think that if a man gets in there and he takes his best shot, and evidently this was all his best shot was worth.
But he quit.
But he got hurt. He quit. He's allowed to do that. He took the punches and he can't take any more.
So you're saying he quit?
He quit.
Yeah, he quit.
But you're allowed to do that. There's nowhere in the rules that say you can't quit if you're hurt or you're scared to death. So nowhere in the rules can they hold his purse for quitting.
16,000 people don't agree.
I understand that, but that's not my problem right now.
Well, let's check in on Golota in the dressing room. Well, that was fast. You get the feeling he didn't want that camera in there, and it's understandable after what just happened.
Well, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an explanation that anyone's going to accept right now.
On the other side of the coin, are you impressed with Mike Tyson, the way he conducted himself here? He just walked off, composed. That was it.
You know what? Mike didn't get out of hand, and there were a couple times where Golota held him pretty tight, held him a little, what someone might think is excessively. Mike held his cool. He didn't swing crazy. Took his time, did the job.
Never fouled, never did anything in a misconduct way. Let's go over to Bill Boggs. We're obviously having some microphone difficulties there. We'll try to rectify the situation, get it back to Bill as soon as possible, because we would love to hear what's going on back
I can't wait to hear this explanation.
Oh, man, I want to hear what Golota has to say to defend himself here after quitting prior to the third round. I want to hear Al Certo as well. Well, we kind of did before, but still, we're having some technical problems. We'll get that fixed up and send it back into the Andrew Golota dressing room. People are just standing around kind of stunned, in disbelief here, milling around, going, what did we just witness? Unbelievable, Bobby.
Well, Steve, I'm not that surprised that the fight ended this early. I am somewhat shocked that he quit while he was still standing. Exactly. I could see in his eyes he was hurt, and I could see the fear when he got up, and I could see the fear when he came out in the second round, but he was still there. Fear's okay, and sometimes it has to be your friend to keep you honest, but to take it and let it get the best of you, consume you, and make you walk out, no, it doesn't work.
In this case, the fear overcame Andrew Golota. He did not want to get punched anymore by Mike Tyson. And now we're set to get it back to Bill Boggs.
There. Okay, we're here in Andrew Golota's dressing room. We got the hard line and trainer Al Certo, promoter Ray Shaw. But let's talk to the man himself. Mr. Golota, Andrew, the crowd is stunned. They can't believe it. What happened?
First of all, it wasn't my day today, but I got a headbutt. A referee didn't respond pretty much well as he's supposed to.
But you're a warrior, Andrew. You're a fighter. But you're a fighter. The crowd pays.
I got dizziness in my head. That's it.
What made you dizzy? Was it that first knockdown? What about the knockdown? Did you really recover from that knockdown at the end of the first round?
Actually, I was just sleep. You know, I hasn't been hit very well. You know, just I was sleep. I was sleep on the down, and then that's it. I stood up.
What do you say to the people who are driving home now? The people who spent the $49.95 for the pay-per-view, the people who were rooting for you, your fans and boxing fans all over the world, at this great and grave disappointment to the sport.
Listen, boxing is a very, very difficult sport, you know. And I'm sorry for all my fans, you know, who count on me, you know. I just did not have my day today.
Andrew, do you want to fight again? Do you want to continue with the sport you've been in since a very young man, since a young teenager?
I have to give myself very, very heavy thought, you know, about it. So I don't know. I have a reputation as a dairy fighter, you know, and this particular reason, you know, somebody headbutt me, you know, and just, you know, and nobody took care of this, you know. He didn't have hard warning, you know.
All right, a very distraught and upset Andrew Golota, as are most people ringside. Steve, we're going to go back to you right now. We're standing by right here, though.
Bill, thank you very much. A very dramatic interview there. Very sad, too, to see something like that as well, as Andrew Golota decided not to continue after getting beaten up for 2 rounds by Mike Tyson.
Well, you know, I don't think Mike Tyson, there was any evidence of Mike Tyson, you know, headbutting on purpose or anything of that nature. I really don't see it. If they banged heads, that's part of the game. This is the business we've chosen. You just don't quit. You don't walk away and say, I don't like the way it was going, I'm out of here. I really don't think he's going to fight again.
Well, let's hear what they have to say on the other side of the arena. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much. I'm joined by Tommy Brooks, the trainer of Mike Tyson, Shelley Finkel, his boxing advisor, and manager. And Tommy, let's start with the fight first. Mike, as of now, is not coming out to speak to us. Back in the locker room, your assessment of how he fought and how this ended?
Well, I think he fought well. We've been working real hard. This has been kind of an extensive camp. We started back in, was it July, Shelley? Yeah, because we were supposed to fight September the 9th, and the fight got moved back. But anyway, to make a long story short, Mike, he put in his work. He did what he was supposed to do. I would have liked to have seen him throw a few more straighter right hands than what he threw tonight, but it was successful, you know.
You ever seen a fighter just get into a fight with his manager basically during the time in between rounds and say that's it, and have to push and shove those people away who are trying to shove his mouthpiece in and say, I've had it?
Well, you know, hey, that's the first time I've ever seen that. Matter of fact, I had my back turned, so I didn't even know it. The guys down below were telling me that he quit, and I turned around and saw that he was, you know, he didn't want to fight anymore. But I never would have guessed that from Andrew. I truly believe Andrew is not a coward. I think that he suffers from anxiety attacks, and I think he was probably having one right in that third round.
Can you assess what Mike will do now? He indicated maybe yesterday that he wouldn't fight again. Where would you say that stands after this?
Well, I think he was a little bit unfulfilled because he wanted to knock him out, and he is coming down from that. I think he'll take off for a couple of weeks. He'll reassess what he wants to do. I think he'll be happy with his performance tonight. I know Golota was banged up pretty good for only 2 rounds. His interview just said he slipped in the first, and he said he got butted when the right hand cut him over the left eye. And I don't think he wanted to stay in there for any more.
Through no fault of his own tonight, Mike Tyson is involved in a controversy. And what now do you do? Because there's damage once again with Mike Tyson associated with it, even though in this instance he is completely clean and did absolutely nothing wrong.
I differ with you on this one. I think that's the same like a controversy of Michael Grant when Golota quit. It didn't affect Michael Grant, and it shouldn't affect Mike Tyson. As a matter of fact, the thing that I was most happy, aside from his performance, every time the ref said break and he was holding, he went out of his way to break clean and move back. He walked back to the corner, and some people said, what do you think? I said, he's very composed. He's very composed. He's got his head really on straight. And he can't be responsible for a guy that he hurts and the guy just quits.
No, he can't. Certainly, that's right.
So now that he put in a good performance, he showed that he could do what he had to do. Even when the guy was deliberately holding and holding and holding, he did what he had to do. Now it's up to Mike if he wants to fight again. If he wants to fight again, the world is his. If he doesn't, then I wish him well.
All right, Shelley. Tommy, thank you for coming out. Hopefully you'll be able to get Mike to come on out and speak to us as well. Steve? Back out to you.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Back out here with Bobby Ches. Well, people did expect controversy here tonight, but there was none whatsoever from Mike Tyson. More than enough from the enigmatic Andrew Golota. And on the subject of Mike Tyson, we have on the phone line right now, hooked up from Nevada, Dr. Flip Hamansky, representing the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Flip, can you hear us?
I sure can, Steve.
Oh, great. Nice to have you with us. What did you just think of what you just saw?
Well, I feel bad for the fans. I think that they're the real losers tonight.
Would you consider letting Mike Tyson back into the big money venues of Nevada after what you saw here tonight?
Well, Mike at this time has not applied for a license in the state of Nevada. When and if he does, he will come before the 5 members of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and he will be viewed as honestly and fairly as anyone else who comes to the state for a license.
Did you see anything in Mike Tyson's performance tonight that would make you think twice about letting him back into Nevada? Flip, are you with us? Well, we just lost the connection.
I think we lost him.
We unfortunately lost the connection to Flip. But he's got to reapply for his boxing license. The question I wanted to ask him was how long would that take, and when, what's the earliest we could see him back in Las Vegas?
You know what, I'll tell you, Steve, I think if he reapplies, there is no grounds to not allow him that license based on what we saw tonight. And I think that if Shelley Finkel was correct, you'll see a few times there was some excessive holding by Golota, and on the inside you can see a couple little not shoulders, but just pressing. And Mike, to his credit, And I think he was biting his tongue doing it. Really didn't do anything and respond to any of the things that Golota did that annoyed him.
Sure, there was a lot of desperation in Golota there, doing the things you're talking about. I understand we have Dr. Hermansky back. You with us, Flip?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is the flip side of Flip Hermansky. Nice to have you back. Now, what about what we were just trying to get to you before? What's the earliest date you think Tyson could get back to fighting in Nevada?
Steve, like I said, he has not applied for a license.
Right.
As soon as he does, he will be given a date before the 5 members of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He will be able to present his case, and those 5 members, myself included, will objectively decide about a license. It can be done very quickly. The time frame is...
Basically, I'm typically an animal. They only enjoy me being an animal in the ring, because I'm sure there are 9 million people that watch me probably hate my guts. But it's cool, though, right? Because I don't know, I probably hate them, too. I want to blaze. Yeah, bring Andrew Golota on. Bring those guys. They can keep their title. I don't want their title. I want to strip them of their health. Andrew Golota can't beat me. I don't care. He can practice any dirty trick. He can't beat me. I'm going to bring the pain to him. And that's all it is. Then we go see how tough you are. Tough guy. I like tough guys. I wish your mother hit me low. I wish he'd do that. I'm not gonna wrestle with anybody. I'm gonna land my fist on his face and his ribs. It's on like a mother.
Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, the Supremes, the Temptations, and Stevie Wonder. All world-famous products of Detroit, Michigan. But along with music and automobiles, the city has produced legendary champions of the ring, Joe Louis and Thomas Hearns. Tonight, we find ourselves in Auburn Hills, a suburb of Detroit, which will play host to former undisputed heavyweight champ Mike Tyson, primed for his first U.S. appearance in almost exactly 1 year. A very busy and curious night of boxing just ahead as we run down tonight's card, a main event that features the matchup between 2 of boxing's most notorious heavyweights, Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. Co-feature, you'll see the dynamic southpaw Zab Judah look to keep his undefeated record alive as he defends his IBF junior welterweight belt against Hector Quiroz. Before that, the women of boxing grab the spotlight as undefeated Layla Ali, daughter of the greatest Muhammad Ali, will take on Kendra Lenhart. And for openers, the lightweights take center stage as unbeaten Alex Trujillo squares off with Jose Luis Juarez. As we make our way indoors to the Palace of Auburn Hills, capacity 21,000, 12 to 14,000 expected. The Palace home to the NBA's Detroit Pistons, at one time known as the Bad Boys due to their bullying roughhouse tactics. Well, how appropriate, as tonight's lineup features the Bad Boys of boxing, Tyson and Golota. No title is at stake, but it certainly has the feel of a world championship fight. Hello again, everybody. Steve Albert ringside at the Palace. Tonight, a main event that has expectations of an impending train wreck and an overwhelming sense of the unknown, based, of course, on the notorious reputations of both Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. Most are expecting the unexpected. This is Tyson's first fight in America since October 1999, when he punched Orlin Norris after the bell that ended round 1. Norris injured his knee and couldn't continue, and the fight was declared a no contest. While taking no formal action, the Nevada State Athletic Commission let it be known that they'd prefer Tyson to fight elsewhere, so off he went to the United Kingdom, where he obliterated a journeyman named Julius Francis and walked through Lou Savarese. That another fiasco as Tyson continued to belt Savarese after the referee stopped the fight and then pushed the ref to the canvas. Which brings us to tonight. With that, let me bring on my ringside partner, former world champion Bobby Ches. And Bobby, could this be the last straw for Mike Tyson?
You know, Steve, with Mike Tyson's incredible punching power and his incredible jawing power, I don't know that he ever has the last straw in his bag of tricks. Having said that, should he do something so hellacious with the Michigan State Athletic...
Tyson bending over the waist, caught him with a left hook, put it back in the heels, while with the right hand. Mike just has that killer instinct in his eyes, and he hit him to the body that time.
So somebody said maybe I'm dirty, but it's not the truth, you know. It's the truth, and I'm taking a shower like 3 times a day, you know. So believe me that.
With a low blow by Golota. That's why both stayed in this fight. How will they? It's over. A disqualification. Is it a disqualification? Let's see. Wait a minute.
I ain't feel myself. I want to try the best out. I don't care if I won. I want to try. I want to try and really see how good I am. I want to try the best. Pre-Lennox Lewis. I just really want to try. I want to try right now. I feel good. If I lose, I lose. I just want to. If I did fail, which I doubt, I just want to see. I just want to see how I match with these guys. Because they're great. I have to respect it. They're great. And I'm never on my game when I'm really fighting. Because I went through my little thing. But we're not going to use that for excuse. But I feel good now with Tommy and Jay. I feel confidence with them. And come on. Let's bring it on up and up. Let's bring it on. I'm not eloquent or distinguished. You won't allow me to ever be that. But let's bring it on.
All over. It's all over again. He's stopping it. It's finished. It's finished. It's finished. And the referee's trying to stop the fight. Tyson's still free. He's not referee down. He's not the referee down. He's still trying to throw punches. I can't believe this. This is mayhem.
I think I'm grown enough, to step in the ring and win this guy. Physically, I never felt better. Believe me or not, I feel so strong.
So I haven't done anything yet. Until there.
You wonder if Golota might be gun-shy for a while with all the warnings of the low blows.
I'm not afraid of nobody or anything, but Allah. You know what I mean? And I know I got my issues. I'm belligerent. I'm sometimes vicious and violent, but that's just because of what happened. Anybody, look at my life. Look at me. I've been embarrassed, humiliation, degradation, and any other TION you can name that's negative, right? But listen, and you're going to ask me why I'm angry, why I'm like this, and all of a sudden I look back in retrospect and say, oh man, I've been devastated. And the only thing you can say is that I'm paid, I'm rich, and my life and soul's been tore apart. I love you too.
Iron Mike Tyson, your worst nightmare. Pure, unbridled fury, uncontrollable.
I want your heart, I want to eat your children.
Andrew Golota, a brawler that learned his trade on the mean streets of Warsaw.
Another low blow by Golota. It's over.
Be there when boxing's most dangerous men come face to face. It can only get out of control. Tyson, Golota, live on Main Event Pay-Per-View midday, Saturday, October 21. Call your pay TV provider and book now.
Andrew Golota now saying that he's going to retire after the fight. Speaking at the weigh-in, the former world champion and convicted criminal was questioned over the length of his previous bouts.
If it goes 12 rounds, which I doubt good, if it goes 1 round good or 5 rounds good, this is my last fight. I'm finished after this.
Last fight ever? You're not going to fight after this fight?
Last one.
Not Lennox Lewis, not David Tua, no one.
Last one, sir.
The career of boxing's most notorious figure may be nearly over, but commentators believe that it's nothing more than a cheap publicity stunt.
Made an admission to our Nick Charles that raised more than a few eyebrows.
Mike Tyson's quest to once again be king of the heavyweights has taken him to the palace here at Auburn Hills. In need of a credible opponent, Tyson asked for Andrew Golota, and Friday night he'll get his wish. Thursday night, the two fighters took care of formalities at the weigh-in. Tyson was 222, Golota 240. And while he admitted to me that he's always afraid before his fights, Golota vows not to be intimidated by Tyson.
I think he knows what this is all about, He doesn't come here now to do anything stupid, And I need to win. That's what it is.
Will you try to intimidate him and how?
By smashing a bunch of right hand and left hooks on his jaw and ribs.
You're going right after him?
That's the only way I ever go after anyone. My mission is just research, find him, destroy him, and just leave this game the way I want to.
Mike, a DQ could end your career. Will that change the way you fight?
It's not going to be a disqualification at all. Just in case he has the opportunity, he may accidentally die or something. Other than that, no.
So we're making too much out of these dirty tactics from him?
I'm not worried about him. I'm too good of a fighter. Even if he used dirty tactics, he could never beat me.
Final thing, yesterday you said in some ways you're not happy, you're weary of this, but now you're pulling on your armor. You're a gladiator. What does it feel like going into the heat of battle? Do you feel good now?
I feel great. I just love fighting, but this is the last one.
This is it. You're retiring after this?
Sir.
Joined now by boxing analyst Steve Farhood. Steve, Tyson was in...
Bing. Golota's out of there.
We've seen Tyson's left hook. It's tremendous. I see the right coming.
We find, as usual, Tyson giving up height to his opponent. Golota comes into the bout with the weight and reach advantage. And as for how long the fight might last, Tyson said, quote, as long as it takes to kill somebody.
Lennox Lewis or David Tua in the ring against Mike Tyson, they would have knocked him out easily.
Certainly, Al, that this is not the same Mike Tyson that used to, but is this the same Mike Tyson, you think, from the Savarese fight? I mean, this is more or less what we've come to expect from Tyson on the comeback trail, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's what we expect when he faces men that are intimidated. And both Lou Savarese was, and apparently Golota was as well, because even after having a second round in which, you know, he didn't fare that poorly, he just quit. And I think, you know, the wild card here is that this is, you know, the third time Andrew Golota has basically frozen in a fight at a strategic point. So it speaks poorly for him, of course, and it's not Tyson's fault that he froze. Tyson hit him with some decent punches. But when you look at Tyson, when even Golota in this fight was able to take a step back, throw jabs, straight right hands, throw some very awkward uppercuts, he was able to hit Tyson just about any time he wants. Mike Tyson's defense now is abysmal, and that is going to be his undoing when he faces the winner of Lewis and Tua.
No question about it, Al, but even then when you talk technically, sure, he has plenty of technical problems. He's not hooking off the weave like he used to. He's throwing his jab lazily. There are lots of things, but don't you think it was just inevitable eventually, no matter how well Golota boxed, eventually Tyson's got to land something? And then you said 3 times, it really is 4, the first 2 Bo fights, then Michael Grant, now this fight, eventually, as soon as the heat gets turned up, Golota quits, no?
Yeah, well, that's the problem with Andrew Golota. Clearly, he's a guy that lacks intestinal fortitude. He's a man that has not learned how to deal with adversity in the ring, and he's also a man who has a great fear of success. And interestingly, in this fight, he weathered that first knockdown, had gotten through the second round, claimed that he was butted by Tyson, and there may have been a clash of heads, was upset that referee Frank Garza did not step in and intervene. But again, we saw an Andrew Golota who couldn't deal with adversity, and an Andrew Golota who apparently was afraid of success because he was starting to get himself back into the rhythm of this fight against a less than menacing Tyson in the second round. So we saw all the frailties inside this head of Andrew Golota.
Al, a lot of people are in disbelief that this is indeed Tyson's last fight. If he's not ready for a Tua, if he's not ready for a Lennox Lewis, where does he go from here?
Well, I think he has no choice but to fight the winner of Lewis and Tua. And there, by the way, there's no return fight clause in the contract of Lewis and Tua. So whoever wins that fight will be free to go fight Mike Tyson. If Tua wins, he has the same promoters as Tyson. They would love to make that fight. And the Lewis people told me all day today, we're thrilled to make the fight if they can get the 2 TV networks, Showtime and HBO, to find a way to mend fences and make this fight. There's nowhere else for him to go because he's going to be offered $25 or $30 million to take that fight. And it's time. If he's not ready now for those guys, he's not going to be ready at age 34. So Mike Tyson's in a box. If he decides to fight again, and we're getting indications in a couple of weeks he's going to make some kind of decision, then I don't think there's any other choice but for him to go fight Lennox Lewis or David Tua, because I don't think, as Max alluded to, the public is that interested in seeing Tyson continue this against opponents that clearly aren't ready to handle him.
Yeah, Al, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Max, and it kind of follows up just on what you just said. Why should anyone in the United States or around the world care about Mike Tyson, whether he fights again or not? Why do we care? Why is it so important that we're covering this fight and making such a big deal about him? Well,
you know, that's the $64,000 question. I've been asking myself that question for about the last 4 or 5 years. I don't find him a compelling personality. He's bizarre, make no mistake about that, but I don't find him that compelling. I guess the reason is because he is a man who makes sudden endings to fights, especially when he's in against opponents that can't deal with his power. And he's some kind of boxing icon, even if it's a negative type. And boxing is a personality-driven sport now, because nobody knows who's champion or how many weight divisions there are or how many governing bodies really sanction anything. And he is one of boxing's biggest personalities, whether it be for good or bad. So clearly people are interested. And the other reason they're interested is because we know that because of his marketability, Mike Tyson is always a heartbeat away from getting a world championship fight. Now is the time for that. So it's put up or shut up time. If he wants to eat Lennox Lewis's children, this is a time to begin munching.
And he does have 2-fisted punching power. That's the last thing to go, Al. Of course, the hand speed isn't there anymore, which is one of the things that made him so spectacularly special. But let's talk about Holyfield for a second, because we know no matter what happens against Lewis, no matter what Holyfield does, the names Tyson and Holyfield, they're always going to be able to make money together. So you figure Tyson's good for at least the Lennox Lewis fight and then a Holyfield fight at some point, whether or not it's for the title, whether or not they're really beating world-class fighters at that time.
Well, if he's going to fight Holyfield, it will have to be prior to him fighting the Lewis-Tua winner, because by the time he gets done fighting either either Lennox Lewis or David Tua, the public's not going to care to see him and Evander Holyfield in the ring again. And that would be, in my opinion, a fascinating act by Mike Tyson if he were to go try and fight Holyfield first. In my opinion, that would be an admission by him that he doesn't think he can handle either Tua or Lewis.
Holyfield has his number, Al, but what about Ikebeya? All right, I'm not supposed to talk about Ikebeya right now. Al, Ikebeya, oh, this would be a moot point. What's going on? Okay, all right, Jay, take the next question.
Al, all we talk about sometimes for boxing is the sport and the sanctity of the sport and how much it gets embarrassed over and over. Luckily, there was no mayhem in Motown this time around. No one bit anybody. No one hit anyone below the belt. From that standpoint, does boxing try to say, hey, this wasn't as bad as it could have been, and you know, can it kind of pat itself on the back after a night like this?
I don't know about patting itself on the back, because clearly Andrew Golota didn't show a warrior spirit. Mike Tyson wasn't a great fighter, but maybe our expectations of this evening were so low that the fact that there wasn't a riot, the fact that nobody got disqualified, and the fact that there wasn't mayhem is good enough. And to me, it's good enough because we have good things to look ahead to in the future of boxing, in the near future. The Tua Lewis fight, which I think is wonderful, the Vargas Trinidad fight, which you guys alluded to. Those are coming up. Those are, I think, excellent showcases of 4 excellent fighters. So as a result of that, this is, you know, we always, every time there's something boxing, we say, oh, the sport, you know, can the sport handle it? Can it not handle it? Well, you know, each of these situations have to be taken each as a separate item. You can't link them all together. And this is a separate night from all those other nights. But yes, it could have been worse tonight.
Yeah, Al, and you know what? You just alluded to it yourself. Boxing's had a banner year in 2000 after an abysmal 98 and 99. Do you think that the fans are now getting hipper than the media? I mean, I'm very curious to see what the pay-per-view does in this Tyson fight and compare it to, let's say, Vargas and Trinidad, which is not going to generate the same kind of mainstream media coverage, but is one that hardcore boxing fans are salivating for.
Well, I think this fight will end up doing pretty well in numbers for pay-per-view. A lot of people were interested in this for a variety of reasons, whether they wanted to see a train wreck or they just were intrigued by the matchup of these two men. So I think it'll do pretty well in numbers. How well the Vargas-Trinidad fight does and how well Tua Lewis does will depend, in fact, on how educated not only hardcore boxing fans are, but also casual boxing fans, and very much how well we all cover those matches, and those are matches that deserve, I think, the proper kind of attention.
Alrighty, Al and Max, thanks very much. We certainly appreciate both your time. And
pleasure having me today.
And Al will be back a little bit later on in the program. Again, if you're just tuning in, here's the result. Mike Tyson defeats Andrew Golota. It's a third-round TKO. Mike Tyson now 49-3 overall with 43 wins by knockout, and you see there on the graphic 37-0 in non-title bouts. Of course, this is a non-title bout. It was scheduled to go 10 rounds. It only lasted just beyond the second round. And you want to keep it locked here on ESPN News, because in a little while, we will head back out to Michigan for the post-fight news conferences. Mike Tyson and Andrew Golota. We are anxiously awaiting to hear from both of those fighters. You want to keep it right here on ESPN News.
I am here with Tommy Brooks, the trainer of Mike Tyson. And Tommy, Mike Tyson was able to get it done with the big overhand right in round 1 that knocked Andrew Golota down, and then Golota quit after the second round. Were you surprised that he quit?
Yes, I was surprised, and no, I wasn't surprised. Yeah. You know, I was surprised that I thought that he would give it a better shot than what he did. Anything could happen in a fight. Mike is a tremendous puncher, as everybody knows, you know, and Andrew just, I guess he thought that there was a no-win situation for him. He tried to say something about a headbutt or something, you know, but from the replay that I saw, it was clearly a right hand right on the chin.
Do you think that cut came from the overhand right that or one of the overhand rights that Tyson landed?
Oh, well, Mike landed a number of right hands and a number of hooks also, so, I mean, it could have been any one of those shots.
Were you a little surprised, as I was, that Andrew Golota had a game plan that basically involved him throwing a lot of left hooks against Tyson, which is really a recipe for disaster against Tyson, who is a left hook artist?
Well, you know, the guy's in there trying to make a living for his family. You know, that's the best I can say. You know,
you're a diplomat, aren't you?
You know, the guy. You know, but on the serious side, though, I think that he needs to get some help psychologically to overcome this fear or whatever it is that he has.
Is it a fear of success with Andrew Golota, do you think? I know he's not your fighter, but, I mean, as you observe him.
I think it's a combination of things because the guy has all the talent in the world, Al, and I've seen him in some fights, like with a couple of fights with Bo. You know, he was way ahead on points. The fight with Grant, he was ahead, you know. And, you know, I said initially that he's a front runner, and he's proven it to be that way, you know. What I mean by a front runner is as long as he's out ahead on points, you know, he'll stay with the fight. But when it starts going south on him, he'll just fold his tents.
Let's talk a little bit about your fighter, Mike Tyson. It wasn't a brilliant performance, but he got done what he needed to get done. How would you grade him?
Well, I'd give Mike a B on it. We had been in camp too long. Our first fight, well, the fight was scheduled to fight. We were scheduled to fight on September the 9th, I think it was, and then they pushed the fight back to this one. We've been training. We've been in the camp since July, the end of July. So Mike is just tired. You know, he's tired of hearing me. He's tired of looking at me. You know, and you know, you can only train for so long. You know, before you get bored with it. But
could he have been a little overtrained?
I wouldn't say overtrained. I'd say just tired and bored with it. You know, and but I gave him like I said a B plus. You know.
Well, obviously, you were surprised, as we all were, when he suggested that maybe he wasn't going to fight again after this. What is next for him, and will he fight again?
I have no idea. I haven't spoke to Mike about it. I would imagine that he'll tell Shelly, and we'll get lined up on a date, and then I'll go to work on an opponent.
Do you think he will fight again?
I'm hoping so. Okay. Like I said, you know, as I told you yesterday, you know, I signed on to win the title, and this isn't the title, so I think we got another couple of fights coming.
All right, Tommy, congratulations on the win this evening.
Thank you, brother.
Tommy Brooks, one of the classiest guys and best trainers in boxing. Let's go back to the studio.
Gentlemen, thank you. Those will be the best answers you get from about Mike Tyson's future. They have just announced that neither Tyson nor Golota will answer questions from the press tonight. The only people you'll hear from, Shelly Finkel and Tommy Brooks. Interesting things going on here in Detroit as, again, there is so much talk about Mike Tyson and his possible future, and right now we won't hear from Mike Tyson. That's it for now from Detroit. We'll send it now back to the studio.
Thank you, Scott. That's interesting. Tyson, Golota, neither one will say anything. They won't be at the news conference. We'll hear from their trainers as soon as they step up to the podium. Post-fight news conferences right here on ESPN News. We'll bring it to you as soon as it becomes available. For those just tuning in, Mike Tyson defeats Andrew Golota in Detroit. A third-round TKO. Tyson knocked Golota down in the first round. Golota did not come out for the third round, but because he completed the second round, it goes down as a third-round TKO. Now, we won't hear Golota at the news conference, but we will hear from Andrew Golota, who's standing by with Al Bernstein.
I am here with Andrew Golota. And, Andrew, I know everyone's wondering why you decided not to fight after the third round, or after the second round. Why so?
I got a problem in my eye, you know. I got a cut over my eye. I felt it, not dizziness, and I couldn't fight. That's what it is.
Some had said that you thought you were butted in that eye. Is that what you believe happened?
I didn't thought. I know that I was twice. I mean, actually, it was twice or three times. You know, I headbutted, and a referee did not respond. You know, pretty much well. He didn't even warn him, which was unbelievable. You know, everybody says I'm the dirty fighter. You know, in this creation. You know, I don't know what happened.
You were down in the first round. I have to say one thing about your strategy that was surprising to me. Instead of using your jab and your straight right hand, which are your best weapons, you really were throwing a lot of left hooks with him, which part of what opened you up to the overhand right. And I'm surprised that was kind of your game plan. Or was that just something that ended up happening?
He was open for left hook, you know. I was a little bit late with the right, but he was open for that.
How disappointing is this for you? And I don't know, how do you feel about the disappointment your fans and other people may feel?
What I can say, I just want to say sorry for all my friends, you know, who count on me. And what can I do? I have to give myself, you know, heavy thought about boxing forward, you know.
Are you thinking about not fighting again?
Maybe, I don't know.
All right, Andrew. Good luck next time, if there is a next time. Andrew Golota will We'll send it back to the studio.
Thank you, Al. After the fight on Saturday night, make that Friday night, Tyson now is a perfect 37-0 all-time in non-title bouts with 33 knockouts, including 18 of the first-round variety. These fights have lasted an average of exactly 3 rounds. When a belt is on the line, Tyson is 12-3 with 10 KOs.
And he did it in fairly emphatic fashion. Were you happy with his performance?
I was very happy. The things that I was looking for was a little different than most other people. When they were breaking, I saw he had total control. The ref even came back after, thanked him. Golota was excessively holding. He didn't try to pull. He just said, ref, okay, break. Went back to the corner. When he dropped him, he went to the neutral corner. He had it under control. I felt another round, and he would start, instead of throwing the overhand rights, would start picking it up from underneath, and it would have been over. And I think Golota realized that.
Golota did complain about headbutts. Did you see anything that you thought were intentional?
Well, first of all, being myself, I didn't see any, of course. But
objectively speaking,
right.
But that's okay. Your opinion counts.
No doubt that first right hand broke up there. Nothing to do with getting in close. And I think Golota was just taking too much punishment. He was fighting, what's his name, Al Cerdo. You know, he put up more fight with Cerdo to not fight than to fight Mike.
That's probably true. Now, obviously, Mike surprised all of us this week by suggesting that this might be his last fight. And you may have been a little surprised by it, but not that much. What do you think will be the case here now?
I think he's sticking to that at this point. We'll see how he feels a week or two away from it. He has a love-hate with boxing. He loves it. He loves the media attention. He hates a lot of the things that are written about him, and at some points it just became too much, and I think that he needs just a little breathing room, which he wasn't getting in Detroit.
Can I ask you, is there any way...
No, you can't. No.
Okay, well, I won't.
Go ahead.
Is there any way that, as a group, and you are very media savvy, you're very savvy about just about everything that goes on in bike, is there any way to get him to function in this environment a little bit easier, given the fact that it's not all his doing? Is there any way to get him to function in this environment so it can be a little more enjoyable for him, so that he might find a way to get in the ring and apply his craft?
Well, what I'm saying is not applying to you, but there are certain people who, because of the history with Mike, don't give an inch, even when Mike tries. And I, at the beginning, said, Mike, look, try this, try that. And then he would come back and say, see the shit shell? He says, I try it, and this. And in his mind, he was trying. But there's certain things that you carry baggage. You carry baggage from the past. I think there's some opportunity that if he wants to come back and he's enjoying it, and I think when he reviews the tape, he'll see, look, I did this wrong, but boy, look what I did here, look what I did there. I was able to slip punches. I was throwing a little bit wide to right, but I was getting closer. And I think he'll be happy.
If he does come back, we would have to assume he wants to fight the winner of Lewis Tua next.
I would assume so. He might want to fight Holyfield and the winner of Lewis and Tua. I don't think he's intimidated by any of them. And I believe that the Tyson that came in today would have beat the Holyfield that beat him. The thing is, he trained for this, which he wasn't training then. But we'll see.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Shelley Finkel, the boxing advisor of Mike Tyson. We have to throw things back to the studio right now.
Artie Al, thanks very much. Good job. Tyson says this is his last fight. We'll have to wait and see if Tyson ever steps inside the ring again. Here are some other past heavyweight boxing greats and what they did in their last fights. You notice Muhammad Ali lost to Trevor Burbeck. Ironically, Tyson beat Burbeck for his first heavyweight title in 1986. And we have just learned that Andrew Golota will be attending the post-fight news conference. So as soon as he gets up to the podium, we will send it back to the Palace of Auburn Hills.
Got a headbutt. A referee didn't respond pretty much well as he's supposed to.
But you're a warrior, Andrew. You're a fighter. But you're a fighter that the crowd pays.
I got dizziness in my head. That's it.
What made you dizzy? Was it that first knockdown? What about the knockdown? Did you really recover from that knockdown at the end of the first round?
Actually, I was just sleep. You know, I hasn't been hit very well. You know, just I was sleep on the down, and then that's it. I stood up.
What do you say to the people who are driving home now? the people who spent the $49.95 for the pay-per-view, the people who were rooting for you, your fans, and boxing fans all over the world at this great and grave disappointment to the sport?
Listen, boxing is a very, very difficult sport, you know. And I'm sorry for all my fans, you know, who count on me, you know. I just didn't know they have my day today.
Andrew, do you want to fight again? Do you want to continue with the sport you've been in since a very young man, since a young teenager?
I have to give myself very, very heavy thought, you know, about it. So I don't know. I have a reputation as a dirty fighter, you know, and this particular reason, you know, somebody headbutt me, you know, and just, you know, and nobody took care of this, you know. He didn't have hard warning, you know.
All right, a very distraught and upset Andrew Golota, as are most people.
Well, that's what one Mike Tyson punch will do to you. That's very scary. After Friday's fight, Tyson now a perfect 37-0 all-time in non-title bouts with 33 knockouts, including 18 of the first-round variety. We're going to send you out right now to the Palace of Auburn Hills. Tyson's trainer, Tommy Brooks, at the mic.
Mike has the potential to be the champion again. That's why I signed on. I signed on to train the champion of the world, the undisputed champion of the world. He has all the potential to do so, but if he doesn't want to fight, I mean, that's on Mike, you know. I'm behind him 100%.
Yeah, but... Right. If... Wait,
yeah.
Wait. Well...
That's good, Mike.
Right. There's, first of all, everything is in a time frame. If Mike decides to take and not fight and come back in 5 years, it can't be Lewis or Tua. But... everything being equal, it's the winner of that or Holyfield, then the winner of that.
Hey, this is for Gary. Where does this put Andrew now? I mean, is he can he even be marketable after this fight, after what he did tonight?
And Andrew's got to, he told me in the dressing room, he wants to rethink his career himself. He doesn't know if he wants to go forward. It's a very disappointing performance. He quit. He said he was dizzy, and that's the reason that he couldn't continue. He told that to the doctor. He told that to Al and I. But as far as going forward, I think now certainly isn't the time. It's premature. He's got to rethink whether he wants to be a fighter or not, and I think that's the major question.
Yes, Shelley, do you think a fight Tyson against Golota, against Klitschko is possible in Europe?
It doesn't make any sense for us. Klitschko is only big in Europe, and the US TV is the main source of revenue. It just doesn't generate here. He's just not big here. Well, I'll cross that bridge when I have to. Right now, Mike's not fighting, so I'm not even thinking about that. And before the Klitschko, I have two other options I'll be pursuing. I just told you.
Can I ask both Shelley and Tommy, do you honestly believe in your heart of hearts?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, here, Shelley.
Oh, hi.
Do you believe in your heart of hearts that Mike will not fight again? Will you try to actively talk to him about his future and find out where he's going? Do you actually believe he won't fight again?
The first thing is to give Mike some breathing room, which I will. And then, within the next week or so, him and I will reach out for each other. That always happens. And at that point, I'll see if what he feels today is how he still feels. And if he still feels that, then we'll discuss what else he wants to do. People change careers.
If he decides to fight, Shelley, after November 11th, Lennox Lewis is more than willing to make the fight.
Is HBO?
I don't know. We'll sit down and we'll try to work it out.
Okay.
Well, Tua definitely is on board for everything.
Not after November 11th.
Al, you saw Al? Yeah.
Al, you sound extremely disillusioned. What is that about? Why are you so disillusioned with the whole fighting game?
Well, because I think the fighters today are half of fags. They get too much money. Listen, I'm going to give you a quick example. Two fighters come into a gym, and they're both broke. And they're boxing each other, and one guy gets hit with a good punch, and he goes back to the corner and says, I'll get him this round, the son of a B, you know. Same fighter, same two fighters. One has $500,000 in his kick. He's got his girlfriend waiting downstairs in his car, and he gets hit with the same punch. You know what he thinks? Wow, I'll probably have a scar on my face. Wow, Jesus, you know. I wonder, he ain't thinking about getting back to this here guy. They're not hungry no more. Everybody's got too much money in their pockets. You got to be hungry in this business. Yeah, give the money to charity if they want to give it. Give it to the poor people.
Shelley, how many times before has Mike ever said to you or to anyone that was it, that he was done? Is this, I know after the Orland Norris fight he said he was done. Is this something he does all the time?
No. And, you know, he said after the Orland Norris, I don't think I want this anymore. Yesterday he was pretty emphatic. And he doesn't do this often, but let me just say something. There's very few people in this room who are on the other side of some writings or other things that really can hurt someone. So it's very hard for someone to understand, and I'm not saying whether he's at fault or not, I'm just saying put that aside. The pressure and the good that come with being Mike Tyson is overwhelming, and the bad hurts more than you can imagine. And at points, I think he just says to himself, hey, this is too much. And
Shelley.
Yes, sir.
You never box in your life.
You're wrong.
So don't try to, whether you're a four-round fighter or you're fighting for the world title, you got the same feeling, you understand? Every four-round kid out there thinks he can beat the world champion, otherwise he won't be in the business.
Al, we're not talking about the same thing.
Well, what are you talking about?
The press. The press, I was talking about.
I'll help you, Shelley.
Well, the press hasn't fought either.
Right, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys think.
No, that's it.
I just got a report that Andrew did go, which hospital, Jay, was it? The Pontiac Oakland Hospital.
Yeah, can I say something? You know, it seems like I'm hard on my fighter, but yeah, I'm so disappointed in the sense that I know, and he'll vouch for me, Lou Duva down there, the guy's got the ability. He's got so much talent out there that isn't funny. I know he could do it. I know he could beat just about anybody. You know, so it's hard. It's kind of hard for me to swallow.
What's it?
What do you think Tommy's feeling right now?
Well, first of all, I have no idea what Tommy's feeling. You know. Rich? I think I had some feeling about it. I didn't expect it yesterday. But, you know, it wasn't like, whoa. I was surprised he told Al Bernstein first, and that was what happened.
Real quickly, let me just tell you about the replay that'll be shown on Showtime. It'll actually be 2 nights back-to-back, Friday, October 27th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and Saturday, October 28th, 11:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific Time. Any other questions for anybody up here? All right, thank you again for coming out. See you next time.
You gotta be clever, you gotta be smart, and not get hit. When you're able to do this, you're a fighter.